अहो भुवनकल्लोलैर्विचित्रैर्दृक्समुत्थितम् मय्यनन्तमहाम्भोधौ चित्तवाते समुद्यते.
Oh, marvelous! In the limitless ocean of me, when mental storms rise, diverse waves of worlds are instantly produced. Swamiji's commentary. Here we have an enthralling set of these extremely lyrical verses with which the chapter would end. Ashtavakra dandles his favorite metaphor of the ocean in these three verses. Waves arise in the ocean due to the wild winds in the atmosphere, and those waves calm themselves down to become the ocean when the whistling winds become quiet and peaceful. Unquote. Bhuvana means mansion, world, or a plane of existence. Kallola means disturbance. Waves or flux. It represents dynamism or activity. Vichitra means various, diverse, colorful. Maha means a great body of water, which is reference to the ocean. Ashtavakra articulated here a grand vision of creation, which is described in many Upanishads. But here, without referring to Upanishads, Ashtavakra articulates the vision of creation from a purely subjective and personal perspective of an awakened seer. In this verse, the self, pure consciousness, is equated with the ocean. The creation is compared to the waves arising from the ocean. The basis of that creation is mind consciousness or dynamic consciousness, what we call as the ripple disturbance caused at the surface level of the ocean. In the ocean of self, there is this mind in which thoughts arise and subside like waves, creating in the process the dreamlike illusion of existence, reality, worlds, and beings. At individual level, your thoughts, the disturbance in the equilibrium of the three gunas, the thought disturbance creates for you the creation, like the ripples slowly gave, gives birth to the waves in the ocean. When you are not aware of your name and form and gunas, you do not have any thought disturbance. Then you do not have any limitation of your body mind, and you transcend all the limitations and become like an infinite ocean, dissolving your identity in the infinite space around you. The boundaries arise when you define yourself and consider yourself an individual, which is what you normally experience in your wakeful consciousness. With that, you have disturbance in the form of thoughts. You experience duality with such thought disturbance, and with the duality which has arisen, you see the universe and every object being in this universe as separate from you. We said Ashtavakra articulated the grand vision of creation. Let us close our eyes and glide along with his articulation. Me, the pure consciousness, is the ocean. Imagining that I stand before the ocean, I tell myself, me, the pure consciousness, self, is the ocean. The ripple seen at the surface level of the ocean is the disturbance in my thoughts, in my mind. And as a result of the disturbance, the thoughts arising and moving here and there is like the waves which rise and fall. Thus, my thoughts fetch me the creation for myself with all its dynamic movements, with all the objects within it. All this happens when you are awake. Now imagine, I am in deep sleep. I have no sense of my individuality. I have no separate identity of myself. I become one with the silence. In that state, all the duality disappear. Open eyes. During the day, I am active and engaged in numerous activities. In the night, I am silent. All the noise, commotion, and waves of thoughts and emotions subside into deep silence in my deep sleep. The central theme of this verse is repeated many times in our scriptures, in the creation stories and descriptions of Lord Vishnu. Let us have a glimpse of that. It is symbolized in the Puranas as the 1,000-hooded infinite serpent known as Adisesha, upon which Lord Vishnu rests in the ocean of creation. As Anantashayana, the universal self, who rests in the infinite ocean, Lord Vishnu is Brahman, or the pure consciousness. The ocean from which he arises as Hiranyagarbha is his unmanifested aspect, pure self. We call this aspect as Avyakta Brahman or Nirguna Brahman. His reclining form, which floats in it upon the infinite serpent Adisesha, is his manifested form, which represents his dynamic consciousness. We call this aspect as Saguna Brahman. Both these aspects are also described in the Upanishads as Mritam and Amritam, with form and or Murtam and Amurtam, with form and without form. We may also call them as the self and the non-self, or the subjective self and the objective self. From the manifested form of Brahman arises Brahma, seated in a lotus flower. He represents all the worlds and beings, and further modifications that take place in the field of Prakriti. It is believed that somehow God willed and this universe emerged. Suppose the Lord had not willed, the cosmic mind would not have come into existence, and the further process of creation would not have happened. However, all the diversity which manifests in the infinite ocean of Brahman is temporary. It lasts for the duration of the cycle of creation and disappears at the end of it, which, according to the Puranas, constitute a day in the life of Brahma. Just like we say, God willed and created this universe, we, through our mind, create our own creation, our own environment, day in and day out, through our thoughts, which has been described in the first part of this talk. There, with reference to Vishnu, we said the creation ends after each cycle, and here, daily in our life, it ends in our deep sleep, or it ends permanently when we have merged with the Anantashayana, the God, Brahman. The universal self is the only reality which is compared here to the limitless ocean. It is the source of the materiality and support for the creation that manifests within itself. Just as the waves rise and fall in the ocean, diverse worlds appear and disappear in the mind of the Supreme Self. Just as the winds are responsible for the waves, the modifications, cittavrittis, which arise in the consciousness, are responsible for the appearance and disappearance of the world. We will end with the Chinmaya's last paragraph, commentary. In the limitless ocean of the pure consciousness, which is my real nature, confesses Janaka, when mental storms stir up agitations, then waves are created and they represent the endless variety of experiences. In short, when the mind is calm, the world of plurality rolls away. In reality, there is nothing but the self. The world of things and beings in an illusory superimposition maintained by the mind in agitation. Hari Om Tat Sat.